Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening or whatever time it is for you. We're going to give a couple of minutes to allow other attendees to go ahead and join this webinar. So if you don't mind sitting tight for just a second, we'll get started here soon. Alrighty, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Jason Onesto. I am the Assistant Director of New Student and Transition Programs here at the University of Richmond. I am joined today with some representatives of our Robbins School of Business. Just a couple of things before we kind of dive into the content for this evening. I encourage you all to utilize the Q&A function at the bottom of your screens to communicate any questions that you would like answered. We will have a space for questions at the end of the webinar, so just sit tight and put questions in the chat as you have them, and we promise we will address them each one of them. However, at this moment in time, I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to our representatives. Thank you all so much.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Miguel Quiñones. I'm the Dean of the Robbins School of Business. It's my pleasure to be here with you tonight. Let me just introduce my colleague here, Laura, if you want to say something about yourself, and then I'll get going.
Hi there, I'm Laura Thompson. I am Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Student Services, and happy you're here listening tonight. If any of you attended any open houses or prospective student visits at Richmond, we may have already met. If not, look forward to meeting you in August and excited for the information we can share tonight.
Great. So we're really excited to be here. And first, I want to say congratulations. This was a really tough year to get into the University of Richmond. So it's really a testament to all your hard work and your parents. I'm sure there are some parents on the line here who worked really hard to get you to this point. And what we want to do tonight is just give you an overview, just kind of a taste of what the Robbins School is about and what we offer and how you make a decision about whether to join the Robbins School or not for your degree plan. So, as I said, I'm Miguel Quiñones. I'm the Dean of the Robbins School. The Robbins School is about 130 faculty and staff, 6 departments. So we're very robust. We're very fortunate. Recently, it's Poets and Quants ranked us 18th in the country as undergraduate business programs. We're just really excited. And the reason I think that we are distinctive, I'll talk about some of the things that we try to do at the school, just sort of big picture, and then Laura will get into a little bit more of the kind of the nuts and bolts. Laura is basically the guide for your 4 years, essentially. She gets our students through the 4 years. Okay, I'm not... There we go. So our mission and our goal in the Robbins School is to prepare and inspire our students. We want to make sure that they go out with the knowledge and the skills, the motivation, both academic skills, professional skills, interpersonal skills, and to be excited and to be motivated to go out and make a positive impact in the world, both at the organizations in which they get employed by, the communities in which they live, and the society overall. As you know, business plays a very important role in our society. Going back to ancient civilizations and beyond, commerce plays a big role in the communication of culture, in the development of societies, and the business school prepares students to make an impact in that world. And our students do very well in the job market, so we're really excited about that. And we're very proud of the accomplishments and the impact that they have. And just a quick side note, next year we are celebrating our 75th anniversary of the business school. So 75 years of impact. And how do we do this? We focus on 4 things. I figure that if we do these 4 things right, we will continue to be a top business school. First is excellence. We push ourselves and our students to always be better. How we do better than before, whether we hire great faculty, bring in great students, demand excellence of each other in the classroom. Relevance. We make sure that what we're teaching and what we're preparing our students for is aligned with what the issues are out in the world. Because the business world changes. It's a very dynamic environment, whether it be changes in technology, changes in societal issues. The fundamental business principles remain the same, but all the other aspects of that and the context in which it lives is always changing, and it's very relevant. So we focus on excellence, relevance, impact. We want to make sure that our students are ready to go out and make a day one ready. Is what our employers say of our students. They come in and make an immediate impact. As a school, we want to make sure we make a positive impact. First of all, in our immediate school. I don't know if you can see us or not, but if you can, I have a background behind me. This is it'll be your academic home for the next 4 years if you decide to major in the Robbins School. I have a picture of our building behind us. And obviously the impact that our students make in terms of the organizations that they start, employing individuals, new products, new services, and out in the world. And community. Obviously we strive for excellence, but we do it in a supportive environments. We build community where people are supportive of one another, they root for one another, and we make a difference in our community because we're part of the larger University of Richmond community and part of the Richmond community and the society as a whole. So if we get these 4 things right, we'll continue to be successful. Now, when our students declare, and you'll hear more from Laura about how our students declare to business school as their intended major, typically second semester, sophomore year, we have a declaration ceremony. And you see here on the left, the pledge or the declaration statement that we ask our students to kind of commit to, this commitment they make. You see a picture there on the right of one of our incoming declarant classes there. And so we ask our students to make sure they understand the community they're joining, a community that's committed to integrity, holding ourselves up to ethical standards, highest ethical standards, striving for excellence, being constructive, collaborative, and inclusive. We want to make sure that we get the best of everyone. Businesses thrive when you get the best. You bring in good people and you get the best of those individuals. That's what makes for an excellent leader. And we want to make sure that our students realize that the skills that they're learning are applicable for solving a number of problems and a number of issues and making a positive impact in our community and society. So this is what we ask our students to do. There at the bottom, you see our UCROP auditorium where we actually hold our declaration ceremony. And how is the Robbins School, how do we think about delivering on this mission? We have 4 kind of pillars or 4 aspects that I think make us different. One is the Liberal Arts Foundation. We are part of the University of Richmond, which is a top 20 liberal arts institution in the country, which means that we have our students have to have a broad-based education in history, sciences, the science, mathematics, sociology, psychology. So the arts, all of these things inform the society in which commerce and business takes place. So that Liberal Arts Foundation allows our students to have great critical thinking skills, great communication skills, and are able to thrive in whatever they choose to do after they graduate. We also have a broad business curriculum. You'll hear from Laura that we have a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration as our most popular major. And what that means is that our students are exposed to all aspects of business, all functional areas. So they take foundational courses in finance, accounting, marketing, and so on. Experiential learning. We also believe that what you learn in a classroom has to be applied. And so we bring experiential learning opportunities both in the classroom and outside. Most of our students do an internship. We have the Spider Business Hub where our students get to apply what they learn in the classroom to projects, solving problems out in organizations in the city of Richmond and beyond. And there's many other opportunities to apply what you're learning. And what experiential learning does is it's a critical part of the learning loop. You learn some content and some skills, you try them out in an experiential learning setting, and then you really see about where your gaps are, what's missing, what you learned and how it fits in, and then you start that loop again. And really, you become a much better learner when you see how what you're learning is falling short or is not falling short, or what the gaps are and what you're filling in. And finally, we are just a very student-centered institution at the University of Richmond, and obviously, and definitely at the Robbins School. We want to do what's best for the student in the long run in terms of their ability to impact their careers and impact the world in which they're going to go out and make a difference. And so we have small classes, we have very mentor-oriented faculty, we have executives in residence, we have a whole number of individuals, whole host of individuals who are just devoted to ensuring that our students get a transformative educational experience. Class sizes are they're on average 20 at the business school, and that's really very hard to beat. I think there is a lot of, and what I tell parents, those parents who are on the call, you can't hide in a class of 20, right? So students have to be prepared. Students are asked for their opinions, they're asked for their analysis, they're asked to communicate their points of view in a supportive but in a challenging environment. So that student-centered approach really comes through, and that's what we hear from our graduates about what really sets apart. They always talk about the relationship they had with their faculty and staff of the school and the university is what really they remember the most about their time at the University of Richmond. So we're just happy you're a Spider, and we can't wait to see you in the fall. So now I'm going to turn it over to Laura to talk a little bit more about the nuts and bolts.
So when you get here in the fall, what you'll find out is that no one's going to tell you that you have to declare your major right away. So everybody kind of in that first year, all the first year students fall into the category of being undeclared. And then typically in the second year is when students declare their majors at the university. But that doesn't mean that when you're registering for classes in your first year that you are blocked from taking classes and what you think you might want to major in. So that first year is intended to be able to kind of experiment some. And so if your goal may be to consider getting our Bachelor of Science of Business Administration, that's the degree you earn in the Robbins School, then you have sort of some foundational classes to start off with, as well as what I'll say is more like a checklist. You know, you've just finished the season where you were applying to colleges and doing applications. There was an admissions process. That is not what we have in the Robbins School of Business. We have more of a declaration process. And so in order to be eligible to declare your major, you have to have completed Econ 101, which we call Principles of Microeconomics. You have to have completed calculus, and I put that there because some of you may have completed it with advanced placement courses and calc. Some of you may be going to take it with us. You might take Calc 1, 2, 3, just a calculus class is what that requires. And then also our Accounting 201, which is called Principles of Financial Accounting. And the reason we chose those three classes is because the philosophy behind that is that calculus is kind of the quantitative side of business, econ the theoretical side of business, and we call accounting the language of business. So it kind of checks off the boxes by requiring those three classes. You do need to have earned 12 units, not in business school classes, but just 12 units overall. And you might have heard that a class in college or at the university is equal to 1 unit. So you can figure the math of that you would have finished 12 units by the end of the second semester of your sophomore year. So as Dean Quiñones mentioned, that's typically when students declare. You also have to have earned at least a 2.7 GPA. Now, I know if you're on this call, you were excellent students in high school and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that sounds so easy. And hopefully you will not find it impossible. But in college, we don't have weighted GPAs. So the highest GPA you can have is a 4.0. That's what an A is. So a 2.7 comes out to a B minus, just to give you an idea. And then the final thing, besides the classes and the grade point average, is that you do have to pass what we call the Excel competency exam. And Excel does refer to that software spreadsheet. We kind of consider that as a really useful skill for you to go into your internships with and just to kind of progress through your classes. So that's why we put that as an upfront requirement. And I would say, you know, if you're thinking, okay, I like this, I like what she's saying so far, I'm thinking this sounds possible for me. Let's look at the possibilities for the majors and the concentrations and the minors you might have. as earning a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, you can only choose one of those majors. And that's because there is redundancy among them in the sense that, as Dean Quiñones mentioned, we want a good kind of broad-based curriculum. And so whether you're a business administration major, an accounting major, or an economics business major, you are going to take the same kind of foundational and core classes. So then once you've decided what you might want to major in, then you are welcome to add a concentration or 2 concentrations, for example, to it. If you are a business administration major, you have to add a concentration. I have always give the example that business administration, the approach to that is a little bit generic. So your concentration gives you your specialty, gives you your flair. Whereas if you're an accounting major, you can just be an accountant. And if you're an economics business major, you can just be an economics business major. The concentrations you can see there are listed. We have 8 of them. And the ones that have those pluses beside them, if you notice, accounting has a plus mark, business analytics does, and international business does. Those are because if you choose those as concentrations, you do need to pair it with another thing. The idea, for example, would be that if you concentrate in accounting, that would be 4 classes in accounting, as opposed to if you major in accounting, you take at least 7, which is required to sit for your CPA. So if you're doing a concentration, it's just not enough to sit for your CPA, not enough to waltz out and say, I'm going to be an accountant. So we want you to pair it with something that makes you more marketable as you look for jobs or applying to graduate school. And so the first 2 columns would be if you were in the business school as a major, that would be your area. If you have thought about, maybe you visited the program that was by our Jepson School of Leadership Studies before this, maybe you're thinking about a major in our School of Arts and Sciences, then you would be eligible for one of our minors. So the minors are for students who are not majoring in business, okay? And the 2 minors you can see there, business administration, pretty straightforward. You take a lot of the same foundational courses and a lot of the same core business courses as the majors do, but then you don't have a concentration, you don't have a specialty. And then the entrepreneurship minor is a little bit, it was, I guess, framed to be a nice blend with something in the arts and sciences, so that you have some of those business skills that you might take if you were thinking of starting your own business. So you can do a minor in that with a major in another school. If you're like, wait, I liked entrepreneurship, remember, if you wanted to be a major, you can choose that as one of your concentrations, okay? And, we started talking about okay, think about the degree and what you have to do to declare, and then think about what your choices are for a major, which then kind of brings us to that next step, which I would suspect is beginning to be on some of your mind. And it would be, how do I figure out what classes to take this fall? And that is a good thing to be on your mind, because I know as we head into the month of July, that's when you have your first round of kind of choosing what you want. And then as it heads into August, your second round of choosing. And so in the first round, that bullet point where it says your fall schedule, that FYS 100, that FYS stands for the words first year seminar. And it's a class that every first year student takes, but you have different choices of topics. And so that's one thing that we at the university allow you to do. You kind of list your top 10 or your top 20, I can't even actually remember which one, to say which ones you might like to have. And then we sort of try to get everybody something that's in their top choice for that. If you're thinking you like this idea of maybe majoring in business or minoring in business, then I would recommend on your fall schedule, you fit in Econ 101, or the Math 211 is calculus. One of those would be a first start to do. That way you can kind of put your foot in the pool that's the Robbins School of Business and say, do I like this, if you're taking the Econ 101. And then usually students in their first semester will take 4 classes. So if you figure one of those was the FYS class, one of those is maybe one of our business school foundational requirements, And then the other two might be something in the liberal arts, or you might need to get your language out of the way. There is a language requirement at Richmond. Hopefully you've heard of that. And some of you may place out of it. Some of you may already from your home bring a second language, but there is a language requirement. So that's something that sometimes students decide to get out of the way in their first year. And all of you will be registering for a Well 100, which is basically introduction to the university. And each week, that meets once a week, you're exposed to a different thing. So you kind of feel comfortable knowing what's what as the semester begins. Some of you I know are kind of around the corner. You're about to get your AP tests. I don't think AP scores have been posted yet, but they're usually around the 4th of July posted. So if you're wondering about that, if you took AB Calc or BC Calc, if you got a 3 or a better, that'll take care of your calculus requirement for the business school. So hopefully that's for some of you. And if you took AP Micro, if you get a 5, so you got to go big on that. If you get a 5 on that one, then that will count for our Econ 101. If you took the AP Macro, that will, and got a 5 again, that'll count for Econ 102, which would be typically what students might take second semester. You know, you'd take Econ 101 in the fall, Econ 102 in the spring, but if you placed out of it for AP, that would be that. If some of you, I noticed some of the names on the call, it makes me wonder if anybody has done an international baccalaureate program. If you did, and if you got a 6 or a 7 on the econ portion, that would count for your econ as well. The only other one I'll say that if you took AP Stats in high school, great, because when you take business stats with us, you will be happy because that'll be a really good foundation for it. But we don't give advanced placement credit for AP Stats for our business statistics class, if that helps. And if you're kind of wondering, you know, like, oh my gosh, this is seeming like a lot. This is our grand finale picture right here, right? We're getting to get you to graduation. So if you can imagine May, it should probably be Mother's Day of 2028. That's going to be your all's graduation. If you want to go ahead and mark it on your calendar already. This group that you're seeing here, the sashes they have around their neck are kind of a gold color, tan color. That indicates that all of those that you're staring at earned the Bachelor of Science of Business Administration. That's the color you wear at graduation. And you can see they're happy they did it. Now, before we get to graduation, I want to back up a little bit to thinking about the fun stuff sort of associated with being in the business school. And I was thinking that you know, a lot of you may be thinking like, okay, but I know I have to take econ and I know I have to take calculus, but I really am interested in finance, or I really like the idea of analytics. And so I wanted to share with you some of these student clubs that we have in the business school that you may join right away. And you can see there are a lot of them there, right? The only ones that I might say are not going to be an option to you as a first year student would be the one that says Beta Gamma Sigma Honor Society. That's one thing that you would earn if you were in your junior or senior year and in the top 10% of our class. So that's kind of like NHS, like you had in high school, National Honor Society. So that one's off limits. And then the other one would maybe be student government, unless you're elected as one of our senators.
Yeah, Smith would be the other one, Laura.
What's that?
Smith would be the other one.
Oh, good point. Yes. And then Smith. Thank you. Thank you, Dean Quiñones. The one that says Student Managed Investment Fund, that is the top senior finance students who have been interviewed and selected to be to manage. I don't joke when I say this, to manage Dean Quiñones' and my retirement money. They actually have a fund of money, real money, that the school gives them to manage. So yeah, that would be one that you'd be, if you were interested in finance, that might be something you'd be interested in doing senior year. So so the option for finance in the first year would be that Finance Society. Best option for marketing would be the third one there, American Marketing Association. So lots of fun things. So hopefully we've given you kind of an idea about the big picture of the Robbins School and how our impact is overall, but also, you know, at your level, what you need to do to get started with us this fall. And now I guess we'll be curious to see what questions we might have.
Let me add a little bit of context too, just in case you're curious. So about 35 or so percent of the students at the University of Richmond graduate from the business school, just to give you a sense. And also close to 60% of business students will study abroad at some point. So I know you're not even here yet, but a lot of people either chose U of R or are interested in studying abroad. And we encourage that. It's something you need to be thinking about with your advisor in terms of sequencing of your courses. Not every school, some schools have really high GPA requirements. For example, we just got back, a group of us faculty, and I just got back from Bocconi in Milan. That's a world-class business school. We have 54 international business partner schools, and they have very high GPA requirements. So it's you need to be sort of thinking about that. The other thing I would add, which is, again, not trying to scare you or thinking you need to have your life planned out, but there are certain, and this is a sad state of affairs, but it is true that accounting and finance organizations are getting earlier and earlier in their recruiting. So sophomore year, they're already later in the sophomore year. So be thinking about internships and things like that. So again, you'll have some time when you're here, but just putting a bug in your ear to be thinking about those conversations with your advisor. All right, let me stop sharing here. I guess it's now when if you haven't been seeing us, you'll see us now.
There's some questions that I noticed in the chat, and since I like the questions that are probably applicable to a lot of the students on the call, so I'm going to go ahead and read the question and then answer those that I am able. For everyone. So the first one was, if you've already taken calculus and are getting an AP score waiver for it, so if you got a 3, a 4, or a 5, the question was, should you take it again? Should you repeat that calculus? I think I would recommend no, but if you're thinking about being a math minor, maybe, then you could think about taking Calc 2, or if you took Calc BC and placed out, you could even go ahead into Calc 3. So if you did that, you actually would be already sort of started on the math minor. So that might be a good thing you might like to do. The next one is for the fall registration, what would be the IB score replacement? Since I mentioned International Baccalaureate, I guess, Maria, that applied to you. What I would recommend to all of you, because I don't have them ever, have a lot memorized, but not everything. So there's this thing on our website. If you just go to richmond.edu and there's a search engine at the top, if you type in credit by examination, it'll show you a chart, conversion chart for AP, for IB, maybe for A levels. I can't remember that, but I think that would have the information. So credit by examination is what you want to do there. Susan's question is it difficult to get the prerequisite classes such as Calc and Econ in time to declare? Do they fill up quickly? They are popular. I won't deny that, but we do our numbers pretty well. That we know the demand is typically the same year to year. So what I think can be helpful for students to know is that when you build your schedule, you might often build it by a time that you think is great. Like let's pick 10:30, right? 10:30 sounds like I don't have to wake up too early. I'm not in class too late. Well, guess what? Everybody thinks that. And so sometimes that can be the tricky thing, is that you have to appreciate that you can get a seat in the class, but it's not going to be guaranteed to be at your favorite time. So just that was what I'd say, to be a little flexible in your thinking. In high school, most of the time, when we were in high school, we go to class back to back to back. And in college, it's often not like that. Maybe you'll go to class and then you'll maybe have time to go to the gym and work out, or go to the dining hall and eat lunch, go back and take a nap. So your schedule's going to be a little more fluid than it would have been in high school.
Yeah. I would just add, Laura and I have kids in college. I had one that just graduated. I don't think any semester in minor in different universities, Laura's is actually in U of R. And so I don't know about to speak for your daughter, but my kids, they never had their schedule work out exactly as they intended the first time. So I just can't stress that enough, because we hear, oh, I can't get the class I want. Yeah, but if you want this professor at this time, in this building, in this room, I mean, the more constraints you place, that gets smaller. So I think the more flexible you are. But yes, we are committed to graduating folks on time, having the experiences, and getting jobs. So that's we work hard to make that happen.
One of the next ones is about when we register for classes, will we also register for FYS? We actually, again, I kind of sort of maybe suggested the word that we register in waves. So the first wave will be you all choosing your FYS class. And then the rest of the registration kind of happens from there. So your FYS, if you want to look at sort of the choices, if I remember right, the titles are already posted online, and some of the descriptions about the titles are posted online. Dean Quiñones, Mickey mentioned my daughter, her FYS class. I remember the first semester was one that was like the secret lives of maps. And so it was all about how maps tell a story, and historically maps tell a story beyond maps. And she's kind of a map nerd. She loves maps. And so that one was right up her alley, right? There might be other ones that might be, they're kind of niche areas, I guess. So you'll see the choices. That'll be fun to kind of check it out into. Next one's about are the requirements to join the business fraternity. Mickey, do you want to take that one since?
You mean AKSI?
Yes, I was thinking about that. Yes,
Yeah. So AKSI does a recruiting process. They're committed to professional development, getting in students who are committed to developing their networking skills, communication skills. And so I would say as soon as they have a call out for new pledges, you want to go start meeting those students and finding out what they're looking for and being interested in that. So there's no explicit requirements that I know about in terms of GPA and this, but you have to get a resume together, and you have an interview, and they're a really tight knit group. And my son in his school was an AKSI, and he certainly benefited from that. So I would certainly, if you're interested, encourage you to work towards getting that.
We also have AKSI is one of the ones I knew that Dean Quiñones knew a lot about that one. Our other one is Delta Sigma Pi, and so they're two. You can meet even they're co-ed, but they call themselves brothers. So you can meet the brothers in both for that. So and you'll find out about that in the first weeks when you get here. This question I think is relevant to everybody. It's about when do you recommend taking the Excel competency exam? I would say you have to take it to be on track to declare with your cohort. You have to take it before December of 2025. You all will to be able to declare in time. But if you're one of those people who likes feeling this accomplishment of checking things off the list, you could get here the first week and take it. On our website, you don't have to, but you could if you wanted to. On our website is a list of the topics that are covered on that exam. And there's some videos. If you want to watch the videos, you can kind of see, some of you may have had a class in it in high school. And so you might be ready to do it. Others of you might think, I need a little more time to look at that. We do also have a class that's not required. It's a half unit class, so it only meets for the first 7 weeks or the second 7 weeks, twice a week, because it's a half unit, and it's called Software Tools. That you could do it, that would help you if you wanted to if you felt like you wanted a guided process with that, because you thought Excel was a little scary on your own, I guess. I'm seeing a question about our business endeavor program and what other business electives would you recommend? Again, for the first year students, really Econ 101 is going to be your fall semester class, and Econ 102 is going to be your spring semester class. And this spring, you might add accounting also. So those would be kind of electives. Thank you for that question.
And most electives have a prereq of those classes, so you really can't access those higher level electives. And sometimes they require the core course. So electives in marketing, for example, you have to take the intro marketing class and so on.
you all are asking me lots of good registration questions, so I can tell it's on your mind. This next one says, will our FYS class, that first year experience class, be one of our 4 classes? And the answer is yes, it will. It'll be one of the 4. And then the other question was about the Excel exam. So you're right, I should have mentioned it. The exam most students take, it takes about an hour and 15, hour and a half to take it. And you may take it up to 3 times. So again, the idea is not that we're trying to keep you out of the business school. The idea is more that we want to emphasize this is an important skill. And so you can, if you don't pass it on the first time, when you come back to take the test, it's the same test. So it's not like we're trying to trick you or anything like that. It really is about helping you add those skills to your resume.
And also, if the students coming into a class have a certain level of proficiency in Excel, the faculty can do more within those classes. So it's really about setting a kind of common expectation of skill set in Excel. So that the professors can build on that, and they're not starting from scratch. Here's how you format a cell. Here's how you do a formula. Here's how. So that's really the idea there. And I want to emphasize what Laura just said is that this is not we don't have an admissions process into the business school. It's a declaration process. It's about you. If you want to be in the business school, here's what you do. There's no interview. There's no fixed number of students that can be in it, which is different than some other universities. So that's important to know.
Any additional questions that we would like to put into the chat to have our friends answer?
Good question. What do you think, Laura?
Did I?
Yep, got a new one.
Close my. Do you recommend to take the Excel class early or wait until I'm ready to take the exam? Well, if you take the Excel class, usually at the end of the class, most students want to rush to take the exam because they don't want to forget what they learned. So I would say that's typically what most do.
And the test is given in a room it's on a computer. So there's a set room where you go, and it's proctored by a student, just to give you a mental picture of what that entails.
Yes, we have at this point we're offering it Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, from 7 in the evening to 9. So it's kind of puts it on you to decide when you want to take it, when you're comfortable with it.
Something else I'll put a bug in your ear about is that our econ department started last year an open house. It's the night before. Is it the night before?
On Sunday, August 25th from 3 to 5 is when it's planned.
Yeah, so the idea is for students registered for Econ 101 or anybody really who wants to come and see the business school and learn where their classrooms are, meet their professors. They can do so. And so
well, I'll be there. I think
I'll be there.
Right? Meet us.
Definitely. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good way for you to. I remember when I was a freshman in college, my brother went to the same university. He took me around to where my classes were, so I knew how to get there. So I think that was really useful for me, and so I highly recommend that you come by. All right.
Well, we will wait just a couple more minutes, see if any more questions pop in the chat. But just a word to you all, if for some reason you would like to revisit the content of this webinar, or you have a friend who maybe wasn't able to attend, but is interested in learning more about the Robbins School of Business, this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Feel free to reach out to, I can throw my email in the chat so that you can contact me with any questions you have related to just webinar and orientation things. Happy to answer any of those as well. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us this evening or whatever time of day it is for you. We look forward to welcoming you on campus in the fall. And yeah, thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of your time.
Thank you. Happy summer.
Yeah.
Thank you all.